Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of iDenti-Tea with Praveena. Today's guest is a very talented chap. I've had the pleasure of choreographing one of his recent music videos, and since then, I've been super inspired and attracted to his work ethic, his personality, and just generally the person he is as well. He is so multi-talented. He is an excellent musician, and he's also a doctor, a full-time working doctor for the NHS. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Mr. M.Kapilan.
வணக்கம்
intro இருந்தது.
one take-லயே பண்ணிட்டீங்க. That's good. That's good.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. And thank you for agreeing to be on this episode.
Thank you for having me.
How is everything going at the moment, music-wise?
Music-wise, it's going pretty good. Obviously, we just dropped Single Tingari.
Yes.
Which is a big project we worked on. And I've just got some more tracks working in the pipeline, trying to get things moving.
Nice. I am going to talk about Single Singari and your journey with that project, because I know that's been a few years in the making. But tell me a bit about your music journey, because you're a trained percussionist. Tell me about where it all started for you.
Well, நான் ஒரு 8 வயசுல முதல் நான் சங்கீத கிளாஸுக்கும் மிருதங்கத்துக்கும் போனேன். I did vocal and mridangam from the age of about 7-8.
Okay.
And then practiced for ages and trained for a while. I did an arangetum when I was about 13-14. Can't remember exactly. It's been a long time now. But I did a double arangetum.
And Bala Master.
Bala Master. Bala Master is my mridang teacher. Vamshi sir is my vocal teacher.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Both great musicians and a huge inspiration to me. But and then after that, slowly started picking up instruments here and there. Used to play in a school band and then eventually started making my own music.
Amazing. And you do incorporate a lot of your music, not just one instrument, like you play a few and you do incorporate that into your own work as well. Is that something like a conscious effort? Did you ever want to think of getting other people on board? How did that pan out?
So I mean, I've always had a little music room in my house. And it's always just filled with loads of instruments. And anytime I want a new instrument, me and my dad would just go buy it. Like, there's no questions about it. And I might not touch it for 2-3 years, but eventually I'll like learn to play it and like I'll get used to it. But so it's always just been me sitting in that music room, looking around and just playing around with different things.
Sure.
So I think that translates into the music that I make as well, where it's if there's a guttum around, I might be like, okay, this might sound nice on the track, play it, see how it sounds, record it on my phone obviously, and then if it sounds good enough, I'll just record it in, or if it's konokol, I'll just try things. I mean, music's all about trying new things, and you don't know what works until you try it, so that's probably where it comes from. I have started to work with more other musicians as well. As you probably know, like collaborative work's always better than just solo work when you have like multiple brains working on one idea. So I find that pretty good as well, because I'm always learning things off other people.
Sure.
So if they come in for a session, we're both sharing knowledge and make a good product out of it, to be honest.
And how, because you've got a style of training, you've been trained in a particular way, and you've already kind of mentioned it slightly as well, but working with another musician and you learn new things about their style, is there something that you've learned recently that has inspired your music?
Oh, that's a good question. There's thing with music is I'm always picking up new things to learn when it comes to music. So it's not just if I've got someone in a session with me. It's also just listening to a lot of music. And there's different artists that I listen to and pick up different things from. In terms of working with other people, I think picking up different things from different artists works, because growing up, I guess I've not just done Carnatic music. At school, I'd play in a school band. We'd play traditional pop songs. We'd do some rock music. I used to play drums for a band as well. So when we work as a group, we pick up different things. And even though we put all these genres on them, they're all interchangeable skills. So I might call something Disram and the drummer from a Western culture might call it triplets, but we're still coming to the same. We're still hearing it as the same thing.
Yes.
So it kind of works out. So I think it's okay. Music gives you the freedom to do whatever you want.
Yeah. And tell me about Single Singari, because that's like, we've touched upon, it's a big project for you. You've been working on it for years.
Yeah.
And I know that it's been a passion project of yours as well. So how did that start, and how are you finding the results of it?
Fine. Big question. big question. So Single Singari, we've been working on it for so long. But it's been that case because of just timings, work, uni, getting through life. But I think it's taught me a lot in terms of how I want to structure my music, how I want to build everything, how I want to structure things, how I want to layer instruments, and I've learned quite a lot throughout the process just in terms of music alone. So initially it was a song that me and one of my friends called Brian wrote. So I wrote the hook and then the first verse that we hear in the song.
Yeah.
And then he wrote a second verse.
Okay.
And then we sort of had. It was initially because we were performing for Southampton's boat party.
Okay.
An event called Varia.
Yeah.
So we thought, it'd be quite cool if we took Varia,
yes,
and then sample it.
Yeah.
And then make a kutta song out of it.
Right.
And
okay.
This was just on a drive home after an event we just performed at.
Yeah.
That we were going back and we thought of this.
Yeah.
And then within 2 weeks we basically had what most of Single Singari is today.
Yes.
And we had the drums done. So I went to the studio, met up with Jerome.
Yes.
And then we sat down together. We broke the sample down, added extra percussive elements, some instruments, and Jerome killed it with some of the interludes that you hear now were in the first original as well. So the trumpets, the outro, and everything. At that point, we didn't have any. We had the Nadaswaram. Yes. Which was a funny story because I play tawil for weddings.
Yeah.
So after a wedding, with the Nadaswaram player, he just come down from Malaysia.
Okay.
I was just like, can you just record this one bit for me?
So that's how that Nadaswaram bit happened?
Yeah. It was literally just after the event. He came, I think we had like an hour to waste.
Okay.
So he just came to my house and then we just recorded it quickly. And then things just sort of built up all together.
Yeah.
And then the track was almost done and it was sat there for a while. And my friend then decided he didn't want to pursue music anymore.
Okay.
So then the track just sat there for another 2 years.
Right.
And then after that, I thought, okay, it was time to reignite the fire.
Yeah.
And then I got my friend Ramanan, who's a violin player, to play the interlude in the beginning. We had a Vuna there initially, a computer Vuna. And then we put the violin on and then asked him to add some extra elements for the intro and throughout the song. And then eventually we got to a point where it sounds like what it sounds like today.
Amazing.
And then obviously the video was a whole nother story.
Yeah. Which I do want to find out more about. So you spoke about the use of traditional instruments in Single Singari, and I really loved it. The moment I got the sample track and I got approached to choreograph by yourself, I loved the traditional aspect of it, and that's something I look forward to in current music, and especially in independent music, which some cases is lacking, and sometimes it's generated not using the original instruments. Yeah. So is that always something that you try and do in your music or wanting to do in your music, to bring that traditional aspect into it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think it's important. Like a lot of I post a lot of TikToks about how instruments come about. I did a recent video where how I recorded the tawil for Single Singari. Yes. And it's a lot of people don't know what the tawil is. They don't know it's a traditional instrument. There was a lot of comments about what is this called? What is this? And I think having these instruments in because when we hear it in cinema songs, we don't know what we're hearing. We just hear the instrument. But then to someone who knows music and who knows instruments might know, but for the general audience, they're not going to know what instruments these are. And I think it's good to incorporate these into our independent music as well, just to bring up the levels a bit more.
Yeah.
We have less access to these instruments here in the UK, so it's really who you know. And say for example, if you sometimes if I go to a wedding, I think the other day I went to a wedding, there was a person playing the steel drum.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just took his number because I was like, okay, so
I love it.
Yeah, so it's just about going out and seeing different instruments. I like going to concerts as well and just appreciating how they do things live and incorporating that into the music.
Nice.
So I think
I would hands down always tell you to keep doing that, because I think it's bringing your style and love for music, and it's a very non-traditional way of presenting your caliber in music, because it's not straight in anyone's face. You always hear it as like an undertone. It's like a layer of the whole music, but it does elevate it. And I feel that because I'm classically, like with Bharatanatyam training, that's all I grew up listening to. Like a lot of classical music. So that makes me feel super happy, and I would love for you to just continue doing that.
I mean, it's probably also that probably made you appreciate it a bit more as well, because probably so used to hearing singers with like a mridangam, maybe a flute, a gadam, someone doing jadis.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that. So Single Singari, the video.
Yeah.
So that was it was a very unique idea that you had.
Yeah.
How did that come to form?
Months and months of going back to the drawing board, It was just because initially we wanted to do like a different concept of doing it in like a market, with like stalls and everything. And then budget became an issue. Okay. So because obviously I'd need to hire like a warehouse, get the set design, and I didn't want to do anything that didn't look proper. But at the same time, I also wanted to, like, we grew up in the UK. Yeah. I grew up in London. I sort of wanted to embrace that in this project. Yes. Even though it's got a very traditional sound to it, it's still me, the whole project. Yeah. So even some of the shot locations, most of them even have been just places in my life that I know. So it's been things like we shot in a car park in Hounslow.
One of my favorite scenes.
That's my favorite scene as well. I think
the whole team, the boys crew, smashed it.
We just enjoyed that too much. Almost got kicked out as well, to be honest, like twice. But no, it was great. It was great. And even like Southampton's, where it's almost my second home. I've been there for 7 years now. Yeah. Commuting back and forth. So it was nice to shoot it. The concept of doing it VR wise and doing that sort of just came to me while picking my brain for hours and hours. Essentially, the videography team, who's Kili Pictures. Yeah. So that's Kevin and Gauri. They every idea I threw, Kevin would just be like, budget, sari barao. And then so eventually I was like, okay, listen, we're doing this split up, and we'll just make sure we separate the budget to where it's needed, and we can work out how things would work. And then obviously getting you on board was crazy as well.
I had so much fun. I love the whole team. I'm just going to put it out there. It's such a good energy. Good vibes.
You were honestly great vibes. Like, you brought the energy as well, made sure. And it's very hard to like when we're in front of the camera dancing, it's you were there giving us instructions and we were all taking it in. But I was only watching like the BTS footage back. And I was like, you do so much to like make sure the energy's there. Yeah. And like you're constantly you're constantly just like giving feedback.
In my little hood.
Yeah.
Guys, 5, 6, 7, 8.
It was incredible. Like it was just like, it was so good. And like it just kept the spirits up between the team. And I think you're a very important glue for that. And obviously the choreo was great as well.
It was fun.
I remember the first time watching it when you sent me the little video. And I was gassed. I was like, whoa, this looks sick. Yeah. I kept rewatching it.
It was a vibe, yeah.
And then I thought about dance.
But it was the choreography. I mean, I'm grateful that you feel that way about the choreography, because when initially I got approached for doing a kuttu song, I was very anxious about it, because I'm self-taught when it comes to kuttu. Like it's not what I do day in and day out. Yeah. But this song, as soon as I listened to it, I was like, okay, I want to do it. Yeah. And it required that. So if you felt the choreography was good, I think it's just a reflection of the music as well.
Oh, so that's easy for you to say.
No, honestly.
What was your thought process like trying to...
Because you said you wanted something fun.
Yeah.
and you wanted something obviously not too difficult, but there had to be, especially for the first kind of the pallavi, you wanted it to have a good sense of kuttuness. The hook step is different, but the first verse has to have a good set of moves. So I said, okay, let's create a balance, and that's how that formed. I kept listening to it, and how would I jam to this song? That's how I did it. Like, if this song reminds me of you're with your mates and you're having a drink and you're like vibing to it. That's the vibe I got when I listened to it, and that's what I try to put through my body as well. Like, if I'm in that zone, what would I feel like doing? I was like, just being cheeky. That's how that kind of came about. So thank you for the opportunity.
No,
hopefully we can work together more.
Thank you for coming on board. Yeah, we'll do it.
Yeah, definitely. So you were talking a lot about budget, and that's obviously it's played a huge part in the decisions you've made for Single Singari. It affects a lot of independent artists. Some people have a lot more opportunity and a lot more opportunity to work with like people who can put the money in. Has that ever affected you, the fact that we've always had to, it's been a limitation for us, and we as a Tamil community right now in the UK and Europe, we're building an infrastructure, but it's maybe not there where we can we don't have as much money going into like different projects. How did you feel about the budget limitation?
I think in terms of budget, you don't really know how big of an issue it is until you're actually in the problem. Which when I first started music, I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Because you don't really understand looking from outside before I actually put out any music, how much things cost to get done. And even things like getting locations, how much location hire costs, costumes. There's a lot that goes into it. I do feel like essentially the more money you put into something, you can expect a better outcome. Which is the case for a lot of things, and that's why you get a lot of production houses who take on board a song or like a project, and they'll put the budget in, and they'll do the marketing budget as well, which is another story. But I think that is lacking around in the UK and in Europe in general. But I think it will come in time, hopefully, is what I'm hoping for. Hopefully when the industry gets bigger and everyone's doing more events, there's more dance shows going around, there's more like programs going around, more concerts, and that concept gets opened up a bit more in Europe, then we can look at getting other producers on board who can sponsor videos and get on board like that. There are people who are at the level now where they're able to get other sponsors and things. But it is, I mean, I guess with social media, that's like a cheat code we've got, because it's all about how much work you put in that reflects how well something is received. So you can sort of get away with the budget here and there, and I think the like whole trajectory of music in general is shifting a little bit, where the focus on videos is good when it's a big production video. But if it's a low budget video, then maybe just the audio with short form content might do better for the song. But finding the balance is also important, but I'm still working things out. So.
And I remember you saying during the shoot that you had to put some of your own money in, and you are working full time as a doctor, and many independent artists may not have that. They might be doing other avenues of work, but yes, you have a full-time job, but your full-time job, having gone through it myself, a few years ago, doing like training at the stage that you are, it's not easy. And when you're mentally and physically exhausted to the extent that we are, to bring out the creative juices and put that out there for our community is really challenging. How are you managing medicine and music at the moment?
See, this is something that I take inspiration from you, because it's honestly, most days at work will drain me to the point, if I'm doing 12, 13 hours at work, I'm not trying to come home and do anything. But sometimes I have to force myself to just sit there. But the thing with creativity is if you're in a stressed out mood, if you're not comfortable, if you're not in the right mindset for it, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And finding that drive is important. So during the Single Singari project, it was good for me because I had there was a good team around. Everyone had their own roles and everyone was doing their bit. So it sort of does take the pressure off a little bit. But I think going forward, it's still a bit more time management that I need to work out and think about how there's some things I can't help. Like I can't help if I'm shifted to do 13 hours, I can't do anything about it. And there's a lot of on calls right now as well where I'm currently working. So it makes it a little bit more difficult, but I think finding time. Where can we buy more time, right?
I found it really inspiring because I know that when I was doing my F1, F2 training and I had intense on-call schedules, so you're an SHO now, and for those who don't know what that means, it's a senior house officer. So you're basically, you're not a baby doctor anymore. You do take on a lot more responsibility looking after patients. And with that, the on-calls are it's more strenuous. The responsibility is higher. And I remember, I think it was one shoot where you had a whole day of shoot, like a whole weekend of shoot, and then you were going into doing a 12-hour, 13-hour day the next day. You had a whole week of on-calls after, or nights. I can't remember, but I was just thinking to myself, at that stage, I was not definitely there. And I think that's an inspiration to many people because it's not easy, and to always come in with the energy that you do is so positive and it is inspiring. And I think that's why you gravitate, like all the good humans gravitate towards you as well, because it's not easy what you do, and I want you to be aware of that. So your hard work,
super nice.
No, but the hard work, it's very tough. I was very shocked when you said, "Oh yeah, start doing on calls tomorrow," because I remember when I was an F2, I was not able to do that. I was in Shrewsbury in like some random place near North Wales, and it was during COVID as well. So that was another thing. We weren't having much other opportunities anyway. So that was but I could not imagine myself doing that level of hard work. So where do you see yourself with medicine and music in the next few years? Where do you see yourself going with it?
Very good question. But I kind of have another question for you.
Okay, go for it.
So at what point did you see that shift and you were able to manage things better? For you, what were the lessons that you learned in order to go forward and be able to balance things like the way you do?
So I guess this is the same for you, but since I was a child, my parents took me to every single class that they could. I had maybe 2 weekday evenings in the week for homework. And then every other day, it would be like 2-3 times a week, I'd be at dance class. I had to do vocal and vuna because I needed it for my dance diploma and post-diploma. So I had to do that. And then I had like swimming lessons and tuition. We go through that whole spiel. So that was always ingrained in me to have that kind of mindset where you're constantly working hard. When I went into university, then people assume that you do dance or you do extracurricular activities just to put it on your personal statement so you get good university options. But for me, dance was more than that. And I knew that I wanted to take dance further. And so when I was at university, I ended up doing a lot more dancing than I should have done. But, I'm no regrets at all because I enjoyed it and I loved it. Maybe a lot more than I did medicine at the time. And I had questions about whether I wanted to be a doctor at that point. But I knew that I also wanted to be a GP. If anything, once I qualified, I wanted to be a GP. So I think that was always at the back of my mind. Going back to when I was like 17, 18, there was this person who came to our school, and she was a GP who never wanted to be a doctor, but she was interested in media. And she did a speech at our school. And I've never spoken about this, but she's one of the inspirations for me. I don't even know her name. I just remember there was this lady who came. She's a full-time GP who's doing short films to help for her own Gujarati community. And that was her passion. And I was like, okay, I can do this too. And then that's where it all started. F1, F2 was very difficult because then COVID happened and I was in Shrewsbury. I didn't see family for a good 4 to 6 months. And then I moved back home for GP training when I got a placement near home. That's when dance really started to kick off because when you're in London, you have a lot more opportunities. And that's when things really started to develop for me, and I started to figure out my style of dance, went more into the Tamil dance scene, because up until then I was more in like the Bhangra scene and in more Bollywood.
Which is quite surprising to me, because I've known you from your Tamil dancing scene.
Yeah.
But I think on my Instagram when I posted, because I went to school in Hounslow.
Yeah.
Where we have a lot of we have North Indians there.
It was all the Punjab. It's the Punjabi community in Hounslow that got me interested in Bhangra in the first place, and I wanted to try it out at university, and that's how it happened.
Yeah, genuinely, a lot of them were like, "Oh, no way, Praveena's bit. Oh, I know Praveena," and it was quite crazy because it was like two worlds colliding.
Yeah, it's crazy. But that's how that happened, and I feel now that I've got a lot more flexibility now that I've qualified as a GP. You get to choose, and that's a huge reason as to why I chose GP, because I get that work-life balance. I get to choose my hours better. So now I'm in that position where I can make those choices and prioritize my health as well, and my mental well-being, because I know that doing that crazy amount of like balancing two worlds for such a long period of time can have a toll on us. Yeah. And at one point it needs to slow down. So I'm in that phase where I'm just slowing it down and just trying to create a safe balance for me and also for my family as well.
Yeah.
So that's how it is, and we just have to take it as it comes.
That's quite cute though, because you got inspired by a doctor who was doing medicine and doing pursuing a passion as well. Yeah. And now you're a doctor that has a passion that's inspiring so many others. So
thank you.
It's quite a cute journey.
It is. I would love to see that person. I don't even remember her name, which frustrates me, because I was 16, 17 or 18 when I heard her speak at our school assembly, or like our sixth form assembly. Yeah. So it was, it's nice to see. I always reflect back on that. And especially in recent years, I'm like, wow, that's something that I thought of then. Yeah. And now I'm doing something similar now. Yeah. And I just hope to do it well. I think that's the main thing. And I always tell people, it doesn't matter how talented you are, how smart you are, in that whole process, being a good human being is what's really important. Yeah. And that's why, you know, you're here today, because I value you as a human being, and I've seen your work ethic and how you interact with your friends and how you're respectful towards your parents. And that's all really good qualities to have, because that overtakes however much talent, however much clout you have. It doesn't matter. Yeah. You need to be a good human being. So yeah, that's really very true. Yeah. So yeah, medicine. Where let's go back to you now. Okay. Where do you see yourself doing medicine, like long term, or music long term, or both?
Oh, you don't need
to have an answer now.
No, medicine. I find medicine so fun. I've wanted to do it since I was a young age, because of feeling like it's a job where you're always facing different challenges and there's always obstacles coming your way, and you don't know, every day won't be the same as the next, basically. Although my opinion may have deviated a little bit since then. Yeah, I was 16 and reckless, so that's what my mindset was. But yeah, I think it's such a fun job, and for me, I kind of keep thinking about, would I want to do this for the rest of my life? When it comes to different departments. So I think I do want to find that balance as well, where I'm doing music and medicine. I've not worked out the logistics of how I'm going to do that yet. Right now, I've just been thinking of different routes to go down in medicine. I've been putting a lot of thought into doing GP as well, becoming a GP. And I know during the shoots and everything, you might have noticed I just randomly ask you random questions about how your medical career is going. Yeah. So that's a possible route as well. And another route that I really enjoy is intensive care medicine. Okay. So which really gets me excited. Yeah. I don't like not in like a. It's just very nice to have a sick patient get immediately better in front of you. Yes. And to be able to help them out, and it's such a complex job that involves a lot of thought processes, and I like thinking through. Like I like the ICU way of thinking is different to normal ward-based medicine way of thinking, and it's sort of broken down for you because you have so many more measures available to you that you don't have on the ward, where you're making a lot more guesses on the ward, whereas I know how much how much urine a patient's produced in the last hour, basically.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's so like tightly controlled that you have enough ability to properly manage the patient's symptoms when they need a multi-organ support or whatever they need. So, and I've had quite a lot of there's a few doctors where they've been very it's the way they behave as well. Generally, ICU doctors or anaesthetists are they're very nice people.
Yeah.
If your shift's done, go home. It's not okay. Well, do this, do this, do this, and it's if you need help, we're all here to help everyone.
Yeah.
And it's like a good community way of treating a patient.
Sure.
And I quite enjoy that. And there's been a few doctors at work as well that have inspired me, whether it be letting me give a medication that I'm not allowed to under their supervision.
Yeah. I love
just,
that.
Just little things like that where it's they treat everyone equally, and
it's inspiring for you when they give you that freedom and responsibility. You enjoy the job better, because giving medications, it might seem like a small thing for someone who may not understand the medical terminology, but there are some medications, and especially in an ITU setting, that are so controlled that it has to be by a senior, like a
consultant or
clinician. And when they are willing to give you that, not freedom, I would say it's more that control. We're supervising you, you do it. Even if it's a surgical procedure, in theatres. That freedom to do that, and we're here to guide you, is inspiring for us as very young doctors.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, this is what I've got coming, and it's you sort of want to be the role model that they were to you, to the next generation as well.
Exactly.
Music works the same way, dance works the same way, everything works the same way in life. But it is, I got to give adenosine the other day. This
is when the nerdy medical terminology comes out. So tell us about adenosine quickly.
Sorry, இந்த patient வந்து இரவு ஒரு 4 மணி விடிய இருக்குமா? 4 மணி விடியல வந்து நான் சும்மா வார்டுக்கு போய் பார்க்கறேன். ஒரு மானிட்டர்ல தெரியுது ஒரு patient heart வந்து அப்படியே இந்த ஃபாஸ்டா போயிட்டு இருக்கு. About 200 BPM.
Wow.
And she's quite a fit young lady. So she was clearly unwell. There's basic managements that we do, so the vagal maneuvers, and there's another carotid sinus massage and stuff. None of that worked. And then this happened once during the night, and then later on is when I got to give the adenosine. She went back into this rhythm called SVT, supraventricular tachycardia. No,
I think it's good. I love this. I love loving to hear this medical terminology after so long.
And then when you give the medication, you got to warn the patient, and the heart short second.
They feel like they're about to die.
Like the impending doom that you get. And essentially you're just resetting the heart with that medication. And it was pretty cool, because on the cardiac monitor you have to get ready to give him CPR just in case the heart fully stops. But it's quite nice because you see the heart going super fast, you flush the adenosine down, and then it sort of flatlines for a short second and then comes back into normal sinus rhythm, and it's so great. And then she's fine. And then obviously you correct the causes for that SVT that she went into. But I got to give that the other day, which pushed me towards intensive care a bit more.
Nice.
I'd
love to see where you go with medicine. And I think, there's no hard and fast rule with where you want to take your career. You might decide completely different in a few months' time. You might be in a completely different mind space, and that's okay. But just enjoying it as you are right now, because I wanted to ask you, because I find medicine, and the reason I continue being in a medical profession is because it's a very humbling experience for me. When you're dealing with people's lives, whether it be in community or hospital settings, it's very humbling, because we can get very blinded by all this attention we get on social platforms, and we think we're the it factor, when in the real world there are people who have real life problems, and we are involved and we are part of helping them get better in some way, shape or form. And that's such a humbling experience, and that's why I tell myself I'll never give up my medical profession, even if it's just a few days a week that I'm working. Like, it's fine, because that gives me a humbling creative journey as well, and it helps my creative endeavors, and that will then boost to then give me a bit more energy for my medical career as well.
And I think you're right. And what I find is as well, times when if I'm on like leave and I'm not actually working, for some reason I'm less driven to do more music.
Interesting.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes I find the fact that having say I'm working 3 days a week, or if I have a week off, that's fine.
Yeah.
But if I have an extended period of time off from medicine, I find it difficult to drive me. Maybe that's because I feel like I've got more time, so I'm a bit more reluctant
and laid back,
and I'm not pursuing that. I'm not utilizing that time to the maximum. But yeah, so I think with music as well, it's difficult to know what my future holds and what there is for me. I love doing music and just sitting there in the studio working things out and getting frustrated, getting annoyed at myself, going away, coming back, and then it's somehow clicking all together. Is a great feeling. And then there's the whole other aspect of people actually enjoying my music, which is great. And then interacting with people who listen to my music, which is great. It's nice because some people might tell you they felt a certain way listening to this song. There might be songs that I released that I might have had second thoughts about a year after I released it, but someone comes and tells me, "Oh, that's my favorite song," and it's a bit, and it's quite nice to hear because everyone relates to things differently. So I am conflicted.
Although and that's okay to be that way for now. It's fine.
I went on a mad rant about a medication.
I love that. I love hearing SVT and adenosine because I work in GP settings now. It's very rare. We don't use adenosine, obviously, and it's very rare to see a patient in SVT, like because we get routine ECGs done. So it's so nice to hear that after a good year and a half for me because I've been out of the hospital scene for that long.
If you want, pop back in.
Maybe some
we'll put you into SVT. It's fine.
Burn down. But I wanted to ask because this is something that I've experienced. People respect my dance work a lot more because I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced that?
Yeah.
Which is nice. People feel that okay. I know that parents have come up to me and said, "Oh, we're only letting our kids dance because they're using you as an example." I'm like, okay, I'm grateful and I'm thankful. Cool, but there is an element where I'm like, my dance in itself. And that's why I don't talk much about medicine so much on my socials. Just from time to time, I put it out there. But I wanted my dance to have its own identity outside of my medical career. Have you ever experienced that where people appreciate your music more because, oh, he's a doctor as well. Doctor irundhu music seyra.
We must be the same people. Honestly, I was at a family event yesterday and they asked me to sing a few songs. But there was a lot of people that didn't know me. So they always go into doctor, kandipa sollonu meer doctor dan and I sort of feel the same way as you do where it's my music's my music and you can do whatever you want with music. You can do just music, and it is. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it because it is me, so I'm not mad about it or anything. I do sometimes feel like I want my music just to have its own identity.
Before we kind of wrapped up, I wanted to ask about your social media presence because I really enjoy your videos and I whenever you post something, because your Tamil is so good, let's just give you a huge round of applause for that because it's so difficult. But your Tamil is so good and I love it when you post content that's so relatable. It's just relaxed, it's laid back, but you also bring out your musicality through that. Have you ever struggled with social media content because you produce it quite frequently as well? And how do you feel about your social media presence?
I have struggled with social media and posting. Getting into routine of it is quite difficult, and I'm not always consistent. I post when I have something coming out and I make sure that I'm relaying things. But then if I'm bored one day, I might decide to post. There's no it's just I haven't got a set schedule essentially. And I like bringing in the instruments and bringing out the music as well because that is me normally. And I get very excited about little things sometimes, like the adenosine.
So much energy and passion.
I think அங்க இருந்து சில நேரம் பேசிட்டு போனோம்னு நான் கவலைப்பட்டேன். கொஞ்சம் ஆடியோ பீக் ஆகுதுன்னு கத்தினால, but it's okay.
That's when the audio is going to peak, when you start talking about identity and SVT.
கேமரால எல்லாம் கட் ஆக போகுது. நாங்க சும்மா ஆக்ஷன் கொடுக்கறத மட்டும் நீங்க இன்ட்ரோக்கு பாவிக்க போறீங்க போல. But yeah, so just little things like even with music, how instruments work, and or even how taking one sound and turning into, I get excited by those little things.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just wanna translate that
And share it.
and share that. And I like doing weird stuff with music as well. Like one time I stethoscope எடுத்து and the heartbeat and record பண்ணிட்டு அத drums ஆவா வச்சேன்.
I have not seen this. You need to send me this.
Yeah, I'll send you the link to that.
That's crazy.
I did a cover of that was in a cover of Pudu Vallai Malai and Chikkapukurele. I did a mashup of those two. And நல்ல ட்ரெஸ் எல்லாம் போட்டு நான் அதுல உங்களுக்கு பிடிக்கும்னா நீங்க போய் பாருங்க. But
M.Kapilan.
M.Kapilan, yeah. But yeah, I just like recorded my heartbeat and used it as a kick drum. And it worked. And just little things like that I do a lot, but a lot of those things you do, like it's difficult to notice in a track. So that's what gives me the ideas to go, oh, I should make a video about it. And then that sort of pushes the whole thing, and it's just the whole process. So me making videos is just my process and my journey, essentially, is how I see it.
I find I really want to watch this video now, because that's what music is. Music is using nature and natural resources. That's how music originally came about. Using natural resources around us to create sounds. And the fact that you used your heartbeat baffles. Wow, okay. I need to watch this.
I'll let you tell me about it later.
Yeah, I'm going to share it. You'll see it reshare as well. Oh, amazing. And I always feel with Instagram, you mentioned, there some days are good, some days are bad, and sometimes you don't post. Sometimes, especially with how the algorithm is working now, the more you post, the more attraction you get. And that puts us in a very difficult position, because people also forget. If you don't post for a month, people will forget about you, and they'll book someone else. They'll think about someone else for that project or whatnot. And that's the society that we're living in right now, which sucks. It sucks that that's what we're living in. The more you have a social media presence, the more bookings you get. The more. So wedding clients, I don't post my wedding clients anymore. Not because I don't get it. I'm getting it. I'm just doing it, and I don't post it anymore because I just don't see the point of it now. But it's sad that people want me to post it, so they know that I'm doing it. If that's what we're living in, if I don't post it, it's not happening. When actually 25 years of my dance journey was never posted. So I'm hoping that will change. Because that's not the mindset we should be in for the longevity of creative arts, because social media is great to promote and put yourself out there, and it has so many positives, and I am experiencing the benefits of that. But it's also sad when you feel the pressure of it as well.
It's great in a way, where it can help you get more big bookings and sort of fill your time. I guess though, sometimes when someone like you who has different avenues of things they want to do, and for example, you choreograph for weddings, you choreograph for shows, you have your own, you teach students. When you have a routine like that where there's so much going on just in dance in general, I think it is difficult to post about everything.
It's so difficult,
I still play Carnatic shows. I play weddings all the time.
And you hardly post about it.
No, I played one yesterday. I never posted it. And even weddings, it's sort of routine, and I get what you mean about it's just.
It's part of your lifestyle. You don't even think to share that part, because it's so. You're constantly doing music, and in your setting, you're always doing music in some way, shape, or form every week. You're not just waiting for that music video release. You're not just waiting for that studio session. You are doing it constantly, so it's actually part of your lifestyle. And I know loads of musicians of the same kind of category where this is part of their lifestyle, so they don't have to post about it, but they do feel the pressure of it. I'm only known for my music work amongst the general community now in this day and age if I post about it.
Exactly. That is the case. I guess there could be. Sometimes I do think, okay, well, should I just take an extra half an hour to just maybe film a video, and then I can post it later as a TikTok or a reel or whatever. But then அந்த வீடியோ போய் எடிட் பண்றதுக்கு எடுக்கிற நேரம் இருக்கு.
அதான் கூட நேரம்.
கேப்ஷன் ஒன்று யோசிக்கணும், எப்படி ஆடியன்ஸ் ஹுக் பண்றான்னு. கடவுளே இது செய்யறன்னா மண்டை அப்படியே வடிச்சிரு. So I'd rather just like
just chill, relax.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. So we're coming to the end of this episode, but I usually finish with a final 5. So I'm just going to throw 5 random words.
Okay.
There might be a few repetitions from previous episodes as well,
Okay.
but just random words, but just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. It can be a word, a phrase, or if you want to talk a little bit more about it, that's fine. That comes to your mind. Okay? Parents.
Love them.
You're an only child, isn't it?
Yeah.
Your parents are so adorable, by the way, and I just wanted to say
they're the cutest, honestly. They support me in everything I do.
Yeah.
இன்னைக்கு இங்க வரதுக்கும் அப்பா நல்லா காஜடி அயன் பண்ணி தந்தவர்.
They're so cute. And before we went on to the next 4, I did want to say, aside from that car park scene in Single Singari, my other favorite part of it was their appearance and their little cameo. And I remember shoot day, and they were so excited. And your mom and your dad, they were like so in character. And I see where you get that energy from. Like touch wood, I just bless you guys, but it's so adorable. They're such good energy.
No, they're super cute, super supportive.
They're very proud of their son.
I hope so.
Auntie, uncle, ida paatha. You should be very proud of your son.
No, but they're like, all my life they've just been supportive. I think my mum was a bit more difficult to convince for the video. Okay. she was a bit more worried about Facebook auntie mere which is hilarious because I think the same thing. Naanum post panna enna sollirum yosikiran nan. But and then I think she was very excited because everyone on set was just good vibes. Everyone was talkative, everyone was fun. So I think she really enjoyed it. My dad, whatever it is, he'll just be like, yes, let's do it.
So
I'm so down.
It was great. It was great. And if you haven't watched it, guys, watch Single Singari because his parents, their role was a highlight.
It's a secret. I haven't posted a reel about it yet. So.
Okay, so food.
Biryani.
Biryani, okay. Film.
Tamil or English?
Tamil food.
Film?
Tamil film, yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Padayappa.
Padayappa, okay. Music.
Like 4 different things popped up into my head at the same time.
Go for it.
Well, A.R. Rahman.
Okay.
Anirudh.
Okay.
Logic Pro.
Okay.
Mridangam.
Nice.
And
And cars.
Cars. Lamborghini.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kapilan, for sharing so much insight and obviously having the sit-down chat. It's been a long time coming, so it was so much fun having a chat with you. And you're such a talented guy, such a good person, and I can't wait to see how your music career unfolds and where medicine takes you as well.
I'm excited for it, and I look forward to seeing more of your journey.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll have a cool new project for them to see soon, but we'll talk about that later.
Soon. Maybe. If Kapilan gives me the opportunity.
Hello. Sorry.
But honestly, thank you so much, and I can't wait to see all your future projects and everything, and best wishes.
Thank you very much. Nandri vanakkam.
So we hope you enjoyed that episode of iDenti-Tea with Praveena. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe to Pranav Entertainment YouTube channel. We've got a lot more guests coming up as well, so stay tuned and see you at the next episode. Okay, I'll do my outro as well. Ayyo. Like, subscribe, comment and share.
Not click.
No, not click. Jagan was like, remember to click. I'm like, it's not click. Okay. And it's a wrap.
Cut.